Hi everyone, this is Smriti Mishra from BrandWagon Online, and today I have with me Yumi Clevenger-Lee, who's the CMO of Quest Global. Hi Yumi.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi. So Yumi, let's get straight into the set of questions. My first question to you is that Quest Global has recently undergone a rebranding process, right? And it has launched its new corporate brand purpose and logo. So, what was the whole purpose behind this rebranding?
Sure. First, it's really great to be here. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today. The Quest is a company that has been in business now for 25 years. Actually, in April this year, we're celebrating our 25-year anniversary of engineering excellence. And the opportunity, I guess, for us to rebrand in this moment is to not really invent a new purpose for the company, but is really to take everything that makes Quest Global so special, like the magic that's in the DNA of this company, the soul that this company has, and really help the organization articulate it in a way that people can identify with more emotionally. And so, we're moving now to, taking Quest Global to make sure we have a purpose-driven brand and purpose-driven messaging that resonates not only with our customers, but also with our employee base and also with potential recruits to help attract more people into the company.
Right. So, Yumi, talking specifically about engineering space, so I wanted to understand how has the pandemic impacted your business? Again, which are the categories that have seen an uptake during the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic obviously hurt all businesses and just humanity, like really across the world. And Quest Global was no different. We have a large part of our business in aerospace and defense. And with travel shutting down globally, and only just now after 2 years really starting to pick up, it certainly had an impact on our business. But what I can say now is the team really did a great job managing through the crisis, not only taking care of the business to make sure that we're one of those companies that survives through the pandemic, but also really doing a great job taking care of our people and making sure that they know we have their back and keeping the Quest Global family together as we navigated the pandemic. So from a business perspective, we now, I'm happy to say, have really resurged. We're back to the same size of business that we were before the pandemic hit, which is really remarkable. So we didn't only kind of survive, but we were able to bring the business back to kind of pre-COVID business performance, employee base in terms of the number of extraordinary engineers we have in the company. Specifically, the last year, we had a lot of growth, especially in energy and medical devices in our high-tech verticals. And where we were hit the hardest, which is in aerospace and defense, I'm happy to say that also in that segment, the business really is now starting to come back this year, especially as the marketplace has opened up again for travel. The one other thing that's really interesting from an aerospace perspective is that industry was also hit very hard. Obviously we were, but the whole entire, aerospace industry was hit very hard by the pandemic. And during that time, for many reasons that all businesses were just trying to make sure that we could survive and keep the business intact, they also had to furlough quite a few of their engineering talent. And so I think the aerospace industry right now is in this moment where they need talented engineers like we can bring from Quest Global to help their business as they're starting to resurge in a moment where they may not have the talent internally like they did before the pandemic. So it actually puts our business in a really great position to be able to help our customers and actually, and deliver the great engineering work that we pride ourselves on.
Right. Because as part of the conversation, you also mentioned about business performances. So I wanted to come to that bit. I want to understand what is the kind of impact in terms of revenue has been seen just the recently concluded fiscal year. What is the kind of impact in revenue compared to the previous fiscal year has been seen?
Yeah, so I mean, we're a privately held company, so we won't, put kind of all of our financials on the table as you would expect from a public company. However, I will just say, we are, back to really healthy revenue, and we still have grown. We did have, probably we did decline in our business 2 years ago when the pandemic hit, but even this past year we were back to growth mode. Which is really great. And our financials are very healthy and back to where we were pre-pandemic. As we look forward, we're in a great position now to double our current headcount, which is 13,000 employees by 2025. And then also, with ambition to hit $1 billion mark by 2025 as well. So we're, all like charging ahead with great enthusiasm to be one of those, 4 out of 10,000 companies that can actually, get to the point to cross that $1 billion mark. It's a really bold ambition that we have, but one that we feel like is, in our hands and feels really tangible that we'll be able to accomplish that goal.
Right. And, in terms of contribution from different categories, say, for instance, you just said that, medical as a category grew during the pandemic and energy grew. So as of now, how are various categories contributing to your overall business?
What's interesting and great for Quest Global is we have a really diversified client base and a really diversified portfolio. So we participate in 7 different industry verticals. So actually in moments like the pandemic, as one thing goes down, other things are still, in high demand. So it really helps us as a business entity be able to navigate and then also navigate with our employees to assure that they can continue to have strong and consistent employment. I'm just trying to think like what else I can offer. I think, in the world where we're in this interesting place where mechanical engineering and software engineering are really coming together. So perhaps in the past, it really seemed like they were 2 different fields. And everything we're seeing across industries is this a convergence of, embedded software being, part of mechanical engineering, and this like really interesting blurring of lines and skill sets that are needed to help, our clients across industry not only be able to, solve the problems that they have today, but then actually make sure that they're positioned in being competitive for future growth in their, in their businesses as well.
Right. Coming specifically towards the Indian market, I want to understand what is the kind of trend or the shifts that you've seen in the Indian market, especially over the last 2 years, and how is this different from the global market?
In the Indian market, I think the big shift is, I don't know if it's actually different Indian market versus global market. I think there's a shift away from, it being more kind of entry-level engineering work, I would say, kind of more outsourced or staffing kind of models to really taking on, the toughest problems that our customers are facing and helping them get to like total packaged, outcomes. And even Quest Global being in a position now to, take on whole ownership of projects and then manage a diversified workforce across India and, Germany or Spain or even in Japan or North America, and bringing together talent from, all different kinds of geographies in order to address our customers' biggest challenges. I think that's part of what makes Quest Global special is actually we have this global local staffing model, or not staffing model, but like global local access to just brilliant engineers from all over the world in order to find the capabilities that are necessary and the scale of teams that are necessary to really address our customers' biggest challenges. And so, I think I guess from a trends perspective where you were asking, I would just say, I think it's the same in the Indian market as well as globally, is this shift away from thinking of it being an outsourcing model to really like a true partnership model where they're looking for people who care about their business as if it were their own, and then bring the right talent to the marketplace or, to their problem to make sure that we can solve the issue and get to the right outcome that's going to set their business up for success. And maybe the one other thing I'll say on that is kind of bringing the humanness element into it. Because I think from an industry perspective, our customers are looking for, like I said, partners who care about their business as if it were their own. But I think the talent, like people, the engineers also want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And I think, the talent and humans across the world are also looking for organizations that they can join where their work is really meaningful, where they feel like they're contributing to something important that is bettering society in some way. And they want to be part of, solving the world's hardest problems, not doing kind of like, I guess, like something that you would feel like would be kind of very transactional kind of work. And so I think that that's a really interesting trend that's happening globally in India, all across, pan India, as well as, the talent that we're talking to and that we're recruiting into the company and in every market from Spain, Germany, Japan, the US. I think people really want to be part of a company that, that matters and that is working on projects and bringing solutions to challenges that really make a difference.
Right. And as of now, what is the contribution of the Indian market to the overall business?
Well, I would say we're really a global company. It's one of the reasons I, was excited to join the company. I would say we're probably 60-40 India to rest of the world.
Okay.
Something kind of in that ratio.
Okay. So, coming to the promotions bit, especially for your organization, which is largely into the B2B segment, I want to understand how do you strategize to position the company and to communicate its offerings? So, what are the plans for the marketing strategies, basically?
Our marketing plans for Quest Global really start with the brand foundation. And the brand foundation is twofold. The first is brand purpose, really understanding like what our point of view is on the world and why do we exist as a company.
Yeah.
And, simply stated, for us, it is, we believe engineering has the unique opportunity to solve the problems of today that stand in the way of tomorrow. And what we are, so motivated about that is that we know, as engineers, we have to focus on what like the most impossible problem that we're facing right now and today. And if we can unlock that first problem, then we can unlock the tomorrow problem and the next one after that. And then when you add all of that up together and you look back, clearly we will have transformed, something to better society. So that's part one. And then our purpose and the reason why the company exists is to be that trusted partner for the world's hardest engineering problems. And so for us, it's like a very simple statement of, when does a customer call? They call when they have an impossible problem and they need extremely talented engineers that are going to be their partner to figure it out, to solve that problem. And for us, that's also what's super motivating to our employees. That's why they're part of Quest Global. And that's why, recruits want to join the company. So when we talk about our marketing plans, it really starts from that, brand purpose and why are we in business and why do we exist? And then the second part of it, which is what we, are kind of in the middle of right now, is, doing a visual articulation of our brand purpose. So you may have seen, like, we have a new logo, a new colors, and really changing the visual identity of Quest Global in order to have it match, with who we are, how we see ourselves, and then being able to project that externally. So in Quest Global, we talk a lot about, in the marketing department and with our leadership team, talking about building a red brand. And RED is an acronym that stands for relevant, emotive, and distinctive. And I think, maybe because I'm coming from a non-B2B background and definitely like from a non-engineering services background, I really believe that especially the emotive part and distinction is what's missing in the engineering services category. And so for me, that, opens up so much white space opportunity for how we can communicate differently, bringing emotion into the conversation and how we portray ourselves and why we exist and why we're doing what we're doing, and doing it in a distinctive way. So even if you think of our logo change that we did, it's, for us much more than just a cosmetic change, but it is a logo that reflects all that purpose work that I was just talking about. But I hope that, you and others would see that even our new logo really, is meant to capture who we are, but then actually start to drive that emotive messaging where you feel something by looking at it and a point of distinction versus the rest of the competition in the marketplace.
Right. Also, are you looking at any platforms, like say, for instance, digital or any other mediums for communicating your message across?
For sure, 100%. I mean, I think marketing today, modern marketing is really digital marketing.
Yeah.
So, there will be a lot of tools that people will be familiar with, like LinkedIn and using social media, even through Facebook and Twitter. Instagram being a new platform for us. But in addition to that, I think we'll also be testing ourselves in some interesting ways to also use, maybe a few tricks out of the consumer packaged goods world or B2C world of how to engage people and catch people's attention that may not be, so much in the obvious channels. But I think, LinkedIn is a really important platform for sure of, that's where a lot of business is done in many markets. And, with account-based marketing and those things, it is an important tool for us. And, one of the opportunities that we have is we have the channels, and then it's like, well, what are we saying in those channels? And how are we actually connecting with people as humans in those channels to draw people in, versus maybe have like very expected kind of corporate messaging that sounds like everybody else or looks like everybody else. So it'd be easy to miss or confuse with like who, which company is trying to talk to me.
Right. One last bit on this particular topic is that you recently completed 25 years of operations. Quest Global recently completed. So what are the plans going forward in terms of expansion, in terms of the Indian market specifically? What are the plans moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the Indian market is such an important, market for Quest Global. It's a lot of like where the soul of the company, has started. And so obviously will continue to be a really important focus point for us. We, will have a really big, focus on, I would say, pan-India talent, actually. So while we do have offices in Bangalore, we have offices in Trivandrum and Pune, we're actually soon going to be expanding to another location as well near the Trivandrum location, in the near future. And so we are like expanding, the footprint geographically speaking in India. But what I think is actually more interesting is like, even from a recruitment perspective, we're going to move to a pan-India recruitment model because so much of the work can be done from home. And so we don't want to limit, people having to physically relocate to certain cities to be in certain offices and these things, when we know through technology, there's a huge talent pool available, not only for us, but to give more people the opportunity to find, to be able to work at an amazing company like Quest Global without having to uproot their lives and relocate families or move away from families to do so. So I think in that way, I'm really happy that Quest Global is so progressive in terms of how they're thinking about, creating opportunities across India, and investing in the talent and community within India, but also not doing it in kind of an old school model of constraints and offices and relocation and all of those things.
All right, Yumi, thank you so much. It was great speaking with you. Thanks a lot.